Hello. I want to first of all thank you for purchasing Vision Planning. This is a culmination of years of experience and practice in the coaching field. I am Shantae Charles, and I am the author of this ebook and journal. I want to start out, first of all, by again welcoming you, and hopefully, this journal, this ebook, is going to help you in your discovery of what your vision is. Your vision is a very personal thing. It's connected to your purpose, your desires, your passions, and your plans for the future, along with those who are connected to you. So, as we go through this book, I hope that you will be able to find the tools necessary in order to define and even redefine your vision. All rights are reserved. I encourage you to support authors' rights to continue to produce their content. This is a first edition 2023 version. So let's talk about what visioneering is. Visioneering is developing solutions for decision making, personal growth, and leadership in your life. In this vision planning ebook, I lay out some key components to helping you define your vision. You're going to learn about what I call the 7 vision zones that are important for you to define what is needed in each aspect for your own vision. You'll discover that you need to grab the tiger by the tail as you formulate your vision plan. This ebook and journal is designed for you to think through various areas and map out your plan. It is intended to be a starting place for visionaries thinking outside of the box. The parking lot is the place where you will table ideas that you don't quite have solidified, and that's okay. Your journey is just beginning. So, as we go through, I wish you good success as you plan your vision. One of the things that we want to emphasize as you are thinking about visioneering is that visioneering covers 3 things: purpose, process, and people. So as you're planning, I want you to think about what is your purpose, how are you going to process your purpose into your vision and your goals, and the people that are going to be connected to your vision. So again, visioneering is developing solutions for decision making, for personal growth, and leadership in your life. There are various reasons why we choose to visioneer. Some of them include to live a rewarding life. Everybody wants that. Some of it is because we have a growth mindset and we know that we cannot remain stagnant. We must keep progressing. The other reason could be to feel accomplished, to feel like you are accomplishing something in this life. And also taking ownership, recognizing that you have the power to change your future. You have the power to change your outcomes by what you're doing in the present. So our goal through this ebook and journal is to empower and strengthen our lives through growth, continued education, successful strategies, and creative innovation. Now that creative innovation is going to come from you. And the 7 zones that we're going to be talking about in this ebook are spiritual, physical, intellectual, relational, emotional, sexual, and financial. We're going to ask you, what do you have in your toolbox, and what does that mean? We're going to talk a little bit about neurodivergence. What does it actually mean to grab the tiger by the tail? We're also going to talk about your motivating factors, your accountability, and the kinds of partnerships that you might need to create. The 7 vision zones. These are key components to think about when planning your vision. Physical, spiritual, emotional, financial, relational, intellectual, and sexual. You're going to get an opportunity to flush these things out in your own time on the journal portion of this ebook. But for now, we're just going to talk about them in general. One thing I want to remind you of is to see your goals as part of your lifelong journey, not your destination. So, what are the 7 vision zones? Well, when we think about how we can plan our lives, how we can look at what needs to happen in different areas of our lives, these are the 7 impact zones that I have come up with that if you are thinking about yourself holistically, you might want to pay attention to these specific zones. Are there possibly more zones? Of course. Can these zones be broken down into more specific sections? Well, that's going to be up to you. But these are the 7 that we are working with in this ebook. The first is spiritual. You have to ask yourself, where am I in my journey? What does spirituality look like for me? For some, this could be an organized religion. For others, this could be a more fluid type of belief. For some, this could be no belief at all. But you want to define for yourself, what does your spiritual journey look like? What do you see yourself accomplishing in terms of your spirituality and your spiritual growth? The next zone is physical. Ask yourself, what are my goals around nutrition, exercise, wellness? What are my goals around doctors? What are my goals around all of these areas of my life that have to do with my body? You know, we have one body in this life, and it's important for us to take care of our vessel so that we live to complete our vision and our purpose. The next zone is intellectual. How are you developing your mind professionally and personally? Are there goals that you need to accomplish in this zone? Are you planning to go back to school? Are you planning to continue your education? Are there things that you need to complete in terms of your profession? Are there certifications that you're looking to achieve? Whatever it is that has to do with developing yourself professionally or personally, this is the zone that you want to start thinking about and planning for. Our next zone is relational. You have to ask yourself, are there relationships that need to be restored, repaired, revisited, or even discontinued? And when we talk about relational, we're not just talking romance here. We're talking familial relationships, colleagues, friends, and associates. All of our relationships should be evaluated, and we should have a plan for how we're going to move forward in our relationships. The next vision zone is emotional. How are you developing your emotional intelligence and mental wellness? This is often an area that many people skip by, but it has a great impact upon these other vision zone areas. So we really have to pay attention to our emotional intelligence and our mental wellness. How are we feeling? Are we checking in with ourselves every day? Are we stopping to assess how our emotions are playing a part in these other zones within our life? Our next zone is sexual. Again, this is another zone that people tend to skip by. But if you are single, if you're married, if you're widowed, if you're divorced, if you're asexual or sapiosexual, do you have a goal around this zone? Do you have a goal to change your status? Or do you have a goal to know yourself better in this area? And our last zone is financial. You have to ask yourself, what do you need to plan for? What do you need to save for? What do you need to buy or invest? What debts need to be cleared? And are you considering new debt? So these are the 7 vision zones that you're going to be taking a look at through this ebook, and you're going to be asking yourself the important questions and centering and planning for your goals around these areas. So I want you to think about what is in your toolbox, both naturally and spiritually. Oftentimes, we have tools at our disposal and within our hands that we aren't quite using. As far as natural tools, we have things like journals, sketch pads, calendars, software, and even literature. Some of the best mentors have been books for a lot of people. In terms of naturally as well, we have accountants, coaches, advisors, therapists, doctors, and even spiritual leaders. These are people that you might be connected to or need to connect yourself to in order to add to your toolbox. Your toolbox are the things that are going to help you to carry out your vision and your plan. When it comes to spirituality, prayer is a part of many people's toolbox, but also meditation, also research, also breath work, and artistic practices. All of these things happen to be a part of the tools and processes that we use to help us to complete our vision, redefine our vision, establish our goals so that we can follow through. So I want you to ask yourself the question today, what's in your toolbox, naturally and spiritually? When we get to the journal part of this ebook, I want you to make sure that you're taking time to write down what's in your toolbox and what you think you need for your toolbox to be successful in the days to come. Now, because I am neurodivergent, I did want to address this a little bit with people who may be living neurodivergent, meaning you yourself are neurodivergent, or you're living with a neurodivergent person. And maybe you are neurotypical and their neurodivergence is something that you need to understand better, whether you're in partnership with that person, whether it's your spouse or your child. A couple of different things that you may come across when you are living with neurodivergence or you are living with a neurodivergent person. One of those is the idea of organized chaos. People who are neurodivergent sometimes place things in order for us to find, and sometimes we place things and organize things in a way that works for our brain, in our mind. And for some people, you might find small piles or stacks, or they might be working on creating a system that works for them. If this is you, if you're living with a neurodivergent person, you might need to help them figure out how to create a system of storing and retrieving that works for them. So that's something to think about. Then there's also the concept of blitz cleaning. Sometimes neurodivergent people may go for long periods of time without cleaning or tidying, and then they might clean or tidy up for hours at a time. Sometimes when people see this behavior, they wonder, what's going on? What happened? But it could be a bout of blitz cleaning. When you're thinking about goals with a neurodivergent person, big ideas need to be broken down into smaller and doable tasks, and they often need to feel and see completed measurable goals more than neurotypical people. So your goals, especially if you are neurodivergent, you might need to break your goals down into daily goals. Sometimes you might need to break it down all the way into an hourly goal so that you can see measurable growth and change. You want to ask yourself when you're thinking about a neurodivergent life, am I more efficient in calm or am I more efficient in chaos? Something to think about. So let's talk about this concept that I have of grabbing the tiger by the tail. When I say grab the tiger by the tail, I'm talking about 5 specific ideas that are centered around organization and management. So when we grab the tiger by the tail, we're asking ourselves the question, how will I organize and manage these specific areas in my life? Well, first, I've got to identify what the issue is. Then I've got to prioritize that issue. And then I'm going to do something called acting on my best and highest use. You know, writing things down places those things in our subconscious, Even if we don't get every single thing done, we have a better chance of completing what it is that we need to get done when we write those things down, which is why there's a journal connected to this ebook. So as we talk about the tiger stands for 5 key components: time, ideas, goals, energy, and rest. I'll say those again: time, ideas, goals, energy, and rest. Let's look at time. So as we think about how will we organize and manage our time, we want to ask ourselves some basic questions like, when am I most alert? It's important to be aware of that for yourself. When do I get the sleepiest? When do I get irritated? When is the best time for me to get things done? Do I need to break down my goals and my assignments and things that I need to get done into hours and minutes? Do I take intentional breaks? Am I making sacred space and pause within my day, within my week, even within my month and my quarter? Am I keeping my word to myself? If I promise myself that I'm going to do something, I'm going to exercise at a specific time every day, for instance, do I keep that word to myself, or do I find myself consistently breaking my word to myself? Am I leaving space for epiphany moments and serendipity to happen in my day and in my schedule? So if we're always managing our time right up to the minute after minute after minute, and we're not leaving space to pause, or we're not leaving space to breathe, we want to consider organizing and managing our time so that we are leaving those intentional breaks, those intentional times to stop, to pause, to breathe, to think. Ideas. Again, we've got to decide. Many of us have thousands of ideas sometimes that flood our mind within a month. So, what are we going to do with these ideas? How do we figure out what is a God idea versus what is a good idea? What's an idea that is for me versus an idea that can help out my community? What am I going to do with those ideas? Am I going to journal them? Am I going to record them? Are there some ideas that I'm coming up with that can be delegated to someone else? Is this idea important enough that I don't want to just delegate it, but I think I need to legally protect this idea? And do I join a think tank? Do I have so many ideas coming out of me that maybe I need to join an organization so that I can begin to share these ideas on a wider scale to benefit more people, especially my community? And then, again, I want to act on my best and my highest use. Which one of these ideas is my best, and which one of these ideas is going to serve my highest use and purpose? When we talk about ideas, we want to think about things like, how do ideas come to me? Are they thematic? Do I tend to chunk my ideas? Are they falling into certain categories? Can I chunk those ideas? Can I combine some ideas? Are these ideas things that are going to be broken down into a monthly basis? Are these ideas just for me as an individual? Or are these ideas community and outward focused? Are these ideas building a legacy? Or are these ideas project based? These are all things that you want to think about when you're organizing and managing your ideas. Goals. How do we manage and organize our goals? Well, one of the first things that we definitely want to think about is what I am planning specific enough? Yes, we can have a vision, but behind that vision, we want to establish some goals. Now, there is a thing called SMART. In most business circles, in most professional circles, we talk about SMART goals, but I want to add SMARTs. I want to add another S to that goal. When we talk about goals, we want to ask ourselves, is it specific? Is it measurable? Is it achievable? Is it realistic? Is it time-based? And is it sustainable? So, is what I'm planning specific enough? And how am I measuring the success of my goal? Sometimes our goals are not measured by how much money we make, but how much people we serve, how much impact we're making on a community, how much we are lessening our carbon footprint in the environment. So we also have to think about how we are measuring the success of our goal. We also want to ask ourselves, is my goal realistic? And can somebody else lead this goal beyond me when we talk about legacy building? Now, if the plan doesn't work, change the plan before you change the goal. I want you to keep that in mind, that sometimes the methods that we're using to get our goals accomplished may not be the right ones. But before you think about changing the plan, change the plan before you change the goal, not the other way around. Next up is energy. I want you to think about the fact that each and every one of us is made of energy. So when we talk about energy, we talk about our motivating factors for what it is and why it is that we do what we do. So as we look at our energy, we want to make sure that we pinpoint our motive. We want to make sure that we resolve motives that hinder our momentum. So if you look at this page, you see lots of motivating factors. Some of them are positive and some of them are negative. Now, can you be negatively motivated and move into the positive? Absolutely. Some people are motivated because they feel like they've been stagnant, or they're feeling unfulfilled, or they're even feeling like their technology and their understanding of it is outdated, and they need to update that particular part of their life in order to move their vision and their goals along. But some people are actually refueled in their energy by focusing on their vision and their goals. Some people are reputation driven. Some people are building on their legacy. And some people, it can be from a place of ego. But whatever it is, make sure you resolve the motives that hinder your momentum towards completing your vision and your goals. You want to execute with pure energy and intention. Maya Angelou said this: people will forget what you said, they will forget what you did even, but they will never forget how you made them feel. That feeling, that is a part of the energy that we bring to anything that we do in life. So check your energy. Now let's look at our next slide, which is rest. Again, we've got to pinpoint what causes us to be restless. What is it about your life that is causing you to not be able to rest? We know that we want to prioritize rest because our best and highest use does not occur without proper rest. We have to plan for proper rest. We have to disconnect from disruptors, both people, technology, and any other factor that's disrupting your rest. And we have to learn how to integrate rest not only into our night, but also into our day. Keep in mind that rest is a human right. Rest is regenerative. Rest is needed for survival. Rest is a form of resistance. If you are of the population whose ancestors were enslaved, many times they were not allowed to rest. So rest can be a form of resistance. Rest improves brain performance. It improves your mood and it reduces certain health risks. So think about, how am I going to organize and manage my rest? Because it is necessary. So, as you plan your vision, I want you to keep this in mind. A dream is written in sand, but a vision is set in stone. So as you begin to visioneer, as you begin to think about what needs to be set in stone and what part of my life is the dream, what are the things that may change over time? What are the things that I may delegate to someone else to achieve? I want you to think about these four components. First, execute your research. Discover what works best for you. This may take some trial and error. Learn how to outsource things that anyone can do to help you organize. Using sites like Fiverr, using tech tools are going to be key in this part of planning your vision. Now, planning your vision can take between 7 to 14 days for most people, sometimes possibly a little bit longer. So if you're purchasing this book right in the first quarter of the year, this is a great time to begin to execute that research and solidify the plan for what you want to accomplish over the next 6 to 9 months. Be open to partnerships. Look into local groups, either in person or online, that offer support. Hire a life coach, hire a business coach, hire a therapist or a transformation coach, and give them 30 to 90 days to go farther and faster with the information that those experts are going to provide you. Many times, hiring a coach can help speed up your process because a lot of times they are already moving past the failures, and they're helping you to not make those same mistakes that they have possibly made. So that's one of the good things about hiring a coach is they really are trying to help you go farther and faster. Prepare for pattern breaking and unlearning. Be willing to do the work, both the inner work and the outer work. It takes 21 days to break a pattern and 7 to form a new one. So 28 days at the least. 28 days at the least, 90 days to really see some growth and change taking place in your life. No one gets on an exercise machine on day one and expects incredible transformative change by the next day, right? So we want to make sure that we're being realistic about the time period that it's going to take to actually begin to see some patterns breaking in our lives, whether it be in our health, whether it be intellectually, whether it be spiritually. It's going to take some time. So give yourself the grace for that pattern to break and that unlearning to occur. Finally, outline and evaluate your timeline. Look at your timeline, come back to it again in 3 months, and then 6 months, and then a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Ask yourself, am I on track? Am I closer to achieving my dreams or my vision? So this next part is going to be all on you. I'm going to go through and explain the vision journal, and I hopefully will hear from you and see you on the other side. If you would like to get in touch with me and tell me about your progress or your process using this vision journal, you can email me at reach, R-E-A-C-H, Shantae, S-H-A-N-T-A-E, @gmail.com. I am also available for one-to-one consulting and counseling sessions as a life coach. So let's walk through the journal pages. First, you have the Grab the Tiger by the Tail journal page, and you're going to be figuring out how you're going to be organizing and managing these 5 areas: your time, your ideas, your goals, your energy, and your rest. In the next part of the journal, you have the 7 vision zones. I want you to write down specifically, answering the previous questions, where you are in these specific 7 zones. Then we have the SMARTS goals. Here is where you're going to be documenting how are you going to be measuring these specific goals that you have in each one of these areas. If you have any big ideas on the next page, this is where you're going to write down what your big idea is. Do you have a big idea around your finances? What about your sexuality? Do you have a big idea about something that you want to crush or accomplish emotionally? What about relationally, intellectually, even physically? Here's an example of a big idea. Maybe participating in a marathon this year. That's a big idea. Go ahead and write your big ideas down. Prioritizing. I want you in each one of these zones to think about what is your best and highest use. What is the best thing that I could be doing for myself in each one of these zones? What is my highest utilization in each one of these zones? Accountability and partnerships. This is where you're going to decide, who is my accountability partner? Is it a coach? Is it a friend? Is it a confidant? Is it a colleague? Are there any specific websites that I'm going to be paying attention to, doing my research? Is there any sites that I'm going to be joining? Any groups that I'm going to be joining? Any subscriptions that I'm going to pick up? This is where you're going to jot those things down or add the links in. My affirmations. This is where you are now going to talk to yourself. What is it that you will do? What is it that you shall do? What is it that you can do? And I want you to make sure that your affirmations that you're writing down are in the I will, I shall, or I can format. These are your affirmations that you are going to take the time to declare out loud to yourself every single day. So whether you are getting ready for work, whether you have them posted, the PDF here is available as a printout. You can print these out. If you need to post it on your refrigerator, if you need to write it on sticky tabs, whatever you need to do, if you need to save it as a screensaver, whatever you need to do to keep your affirmations before you, that is what I want you to do. And the rest of these are journal pages. These are concepts that are going to come to you at various times. Maybe a concept has come to you even as you are listening to this ebook and journal. Maybe a concept is coming to you later in the year or in your planning. These are the pages where you're going to spend time writing down those concepts. On the left-hand bar, you'll see the 7 zones. Make sure you circle which zone or zones that this particular concept ties into. Think about, how is this concept affecting your purpose? How are you going to process this concept? And what people are going to be involved in either helping you or helping this concept come to pass? As you can see, we've given you lots and lots of space for your concepts. This is the dream space. I want you to think about what it is that you are dreaming of. This is a space that's designed to allow you to either, as you're printing it out, begin to paste some things down here that creates a visual for you, or if you're using it in another format, if you're using it straight on the computer, the PDF can also be uploaded. They can also be saved as JPEGs, and you can use in a format like Jamboard to begin to put some things onto your board visually. However you're going to use this, this is the perfect space to begin to visualize your vision and your goals. Finally, this is the parking lot. This is the space where you're going to put ideas where you're not quite sure where they should go. You're not quite sure when you're going to get to them. That's where we put those ideas. We put them into the parking lot. Those squares on the right-hand side are the places where you can write down those parking lot ideas. And also on the left-hand side, you're going to circle or you're going to put a check next to the zone in which those ideas coincide. This is the conclusion of this vision planning ebook and journal. I hope that you have enjoyed listening to this journal. I hope that you will take on and begin to move and act in a way that brings about a defining and a redefining for some of what your vision and your goals are. Please feel free to contact me and let me know how this vision planning journal and ebook is working out for you. I would love to hear from you. Thank you again. I hope that you have a great and wonderful time utilizing this vision planning ebook. Take care, and may your dreams, may your vision, and may your goal be fulfilled and prosper.